Welcome to the Inside Source Executive Video Series. I'm Dawn Evans with Sourcing Interest Group, and I'm so excited today. I have Debra Bronzo here, and Debbie is the Vice President of Corporate Procurement at New York Life Insurance. Debbie, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you could join me. Now, you've been in this space for a long time, procurement, sourcing, outsourcing. How have you seen the role of procurement evolve over time?
Well, just by the nature of the name procurement has evolved from purchasing. We are moved from a tactical to a much more strategic role in the companies. We're using tools now instead of just traditional paper and emails and conversations. We're a much more strategic organization personally within New York Life. And I think that role is much more prominent, and procurement is more of a discipline now than it was even 10 years ago.
10 years ago, we didn't even have a title CPO, did we?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah. So credibility in the boardroom. At New York Life or across the industry, do you see procurement actually having a seat in the boardroom? Do you see the boardroom paying attention, the C-level suite, really listening to the CPOs now?
I think more so now than ever, especially in light of the current economic environment. We are able to demonstrate true value from a cost perspective. I think we've been gaining momentum prior to the economic, I don't want to say collapse, but prior to the challenges we're facing currently. But this has really given us a leg up. And while maybe not at the board level for New York Life, certainly at our executive management committee level, we're able to deliver, hard savings, which the business areas can then deliver right to their bottom line.
That's great. So no, regulated industry, how does that help or does that hinder on getting sourcing success for New York Life?
Well, a regulated industry from an insurance perspective is a little bit different than regulation in, say, the government sector. So I've run the gamut. So I started my career defense contracting, then moved to state, and those are strictly regulated. You have federal acquisition regulation, you have state authority law. Insurance regulation is really more prominent with respect to product. So we see a lot of regulation, and while we're not a publicly traded company, we do follow the same rules with respect to privacy, Sarbanes-Oxley, as well as anything else that you could throw at us. But from a procurement perspective, I think we just we follow the same rules and procedures that I would in any kind of public environment. We want to make sure that we're following a competitive process. We're demonstrating that there's value to be added from that process, and just making good business decisions that are based not just on price, but on the total value that a company can bring to the table.
So talent management, it seems to be a very hot topic right now. Everybody's talking about that there are scarce resources, and we've got an aging population, so a lot of baby boomers looking to try it out of the system through retirement or just leaving. How are you managing your talent acquisition?
So I definitely agree that talent management and talent acquisition at a mid to senior level management position has been challenging. And there's a lot of movement, even in this environment, between companies who are really trying to retain good talent and to acquire talent if they don't have it. But what we're trying to do is to establish a talent pool at the entry level. So I look for someone who has really good business skills or even good people skills. And bring them right out of school. We have a training program within our procurement organization where they spend 2 years kind of learning the ropes, and then they come out at our entry level from a corporate perspective, what that entry level position would be. And then they have an opportunity then to follow somebody in procurement to really learn what procurement is about. So they don't need to have the background, but when they finish that 2-year program, they really have the good fundamentals of what procurement really is, and then they can actually start taking on projects of their own.
Wow. So that's a program that you guys developed within New York Life.
Yeah.
See, I need to have you present on that. People need to hear that at the summit.
And it works, and it's because I think from procurement is an interesting place to be. Right? So you have access to every organization within the company. So we sell new entrants to New York Life as this might not be the place where you want to spend your career, but it's certainly a launching point where you can have opportunity to work with all levels of the company, all areas of the company, and then find out where you might want to end up, 5 years from now. And here's a way to demonstrate your skills to a senior leader in another organization that says that I can think outside the box. Procurement is just a way for me to get access. And it's been very successful thus far.
So a lot of folks would rather have, and I don't know where you are, so if you had a choice of a rock star for 2 years or a mediocre employee for 10, which would you take?
That's a tough one. Right now I think I'd take the mediocre employee, because you can make someone a rock star. I mean, we can really train somebody to be a better procurement professional. and we can get them excited about what we do, because it's all about passion, right? So we're passionate about what we do. We can take a traditional, what someone would consider to be almost like a boring purchasing job, and show them the other side of it. You know, we're in-house salespeople. We have to sell what we do every day to everyone in the company, because let's face it, regardless of whether we think we're relevant in the boardroom, we still have to sell it to our internal clients. And then once they see the value add, they get excited. So what we do is just, you know, you bring that vigor and that enthusiasm to somebody new, and it's contagious.
I think it is. I mean, I get so excited about what we do, and it's like when people aren't, it's like, then you shouldn't be
Why
here.
not?
Yeah,
Why
you don't get
understand?
it. So how did you end up in this role then? Tell me a little bit about what got you into procurement
By
then.
mistake. So international business undergrad, I came out of school and I had worked as an intern at Grumman Aerospace. My dad was an engineer, worked there for 45 years or so, and was a corporate estimator. So basically putting proposals together for the Air Force first and then the Navy, and then started doing contract negotiations. So preparing responses to RFPs. And then it just flipped. And it really is, if you can do one side, you can do the other. And so that evolved. Spent some time at Grumman, spent some time with the MTA, went to Prodigy, and then did the private sector, which is a whole different ballgame. And then landed at New York Life 12 years ago. And it's never the same job day after day, because no matter what you do, there's always a different angle to look at, to pursue. But our skills are so transferable from industry to industry. It's a great career path for anyone.
Now, do you guys recruit then from colleges and universities that have supply chain or sourcing degrees, or?
We have, not intentionally. We actually have someone who came out of the University of Arizona who had supply chain undergrad. It was purely by accident, but she's proven to be one of our best mid-level people. And so we would look to do that again. But again, it really is. I looked for people skills first. If they have, you can always teach somebody procurement skills, I think. It's really about the people skills. Do you ask the right questions? Do you think about a problem in the way that's going to get to the right solution? So a combination of you have the background and those skills, all the better.
Yeah, no, so you're saying personality. Number one trait for someone to be successful in procurement is a personality, ability to sell?
To sell, because you have to sell yourself. You have to be able to demonstrate you are capable, that you have credibility. You have to be able to answer all the right, or ask all the right questions. Because if you're not able to understand someone else's objectives, then you can't do the job that you have. So we have to understand client objectives. What does a salesperson do? They have to get in the head of their client. So that's the same thing we have to do.
And do you spend a lot of time then trying to understand your business units and what's driving them?
Absolutely.
And is that the way you've always approached it?
Yes, because we have to, they have to want to use our services. It's not yes, we have a mandate, but I don't want to carry around a big stick and say you have to, because you don't win friends that way. We want people to be encouraged to use our services. We want them to seek us out and saying, you did such a great job on that last project. We want to, what can you do for us now? And you have to understand the basics, and we never, purport to be experts. You are the subject matter expert. But if I can ask you a few questions, and if you can explain to me, what your objectives are, what are your goals, and if I can really have that good conversation, then I'm looking at it from a perspective that's outside of the day-to-day work that you do. I'm going to ask a few things that you might not have thought about because I'm new. So it's that fresh pair of eyes. And the two perspectives working together will always deliver a result that's better than if one person was doing it individually. So as a result of that, we have clients now who are actually asking us to help them on the sales side. So we've done 2 RFPs recently for new business development, where we are actually helping them.
Why don't more organizations do that? I mean, you know how to negotiate. You're on this side. That's who the businesses are selling to.
Right.
And yet they don't come to see. Another thing you need to present
so
at
this
the summit.
is actually very new. So this past year,
Yes.
so two new product developments where we've actually helped build the pieces to come up with a new business idea and saying, okay, well, if we had, these are the elements, let's negotiate the cost of this contract, let's negotiate this. And it's, again, having 2 very junior people on my staff work with them to demonstrate their capabilities. They're in MBA programs. So the end result, we hope, will be that they'll see the value that my team can bring, and maybe they'll end up in another organization in a few years.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Lost to us, but from the company perspective, if we can be seen as a talent pool, all the better.
Oh, and plus, wouldn't you rather have someone who's been in procurement, loved it, and then goes out and just talks great about procurement in other parts of the company? I mean, it's okay
then
if
we
they
have
leave.
advocates,
Exactly.
and then it just builds from there. So
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So what's next on the horizon for you?
So we've had some changes. Change is constant, right? So what we're trying to do is then continue to deliver value. Supplier relationship management, I think, is the next objective for me personally, as I really want to act in a consulting capacity for the rest of the organization. Again, from a procurement perspective, our spend is not as significant as one might think, for the size company that we are, or even for the name of New York Life. We have lots of medium-sized spends. So to help the end user and our clients really understand the relationships that they should and can have with their critical suppliers and what it means to evaluate a contract. Are their suppliers performing, or is it something that we need to work on together because it's more of a give and take relationship? So it's really working on what that means.
Now, do you use any social media in procurement today?
Not particularly. It's if you're evaluating a vendor, we'll check the social media, we'll check we'll check LinkedIn, we'll check some other sites and whatnot to see if there's anything that we might need to focus on or maybe follow up on. But like any other research, everything has to be taken with a grain of salt because there's too much instant access and not all of it's good. Mm-hmm. So I'm very cautious.
Just because you read it on the internet doesn't mean it's automatically true.
Surprise!
I know.
Blogs are a very interesting source of information.
Mm-hmm.
People can use blogs to vent. Again, not always good. So again, it's good information to have and to use as a starting off point for a conversation. And it could be with a supplier. It could be with your client to say, okay, these are the items that might be seeing on a blog. You might want to ask your supplier about something that you've heard. But I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it. It's like anything else. It's information that needs to be evaluated.
I was just talking to SAP the other day, and I was so excited about a part of their development plan. And I said, I want to, when I'm shopping, regular shopping, personal shopping, I look at consumer reviews. I look at what they say. And the truth is, they say through studies is that we're more likely to rely on a person we don't know, a consumer's response, than we are on anybody's advertising to me. And I agree. I read all the reviews. SAP is building into their system now where everyone who uses a supplier in a company can then leave comments. And to me, it seems like a logical next step. A social media that's obviously contained to who we're using, but wouldn't it be great to get other people to want to use a supplier or let the supplier know that people are leaving comments about them in the system that can be viewed? They were great. They showed up on time. They were awful. They missed the delivery date. And obviously you'd want it to be truthful information. But do you think something like that would be helpful?
Yes, but again, you have to evaluate it in the full context of what you are considering that particular supplier for. Mm-hmm. I think it's as important to do a full reference check on a particular company, and find out, not just who the good references are, but who the bad references are, who they lose business from, and why. That's what didn't go right. Those are more important sometimes than the really good relationships because let's face it, who's going to give you a bad reference?
Yeah,
you really
exactly.
want to know. And things happen for the right reasons. M&As take place, so companies lose business for valid reasons, and you want to understand that as well.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for joining me today. We're out of time.
Thank you very much.
I always love chatting with you. I've loved it for all these years. It's wonderful, and you are a great addition on our advisory board.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So folks, that's it with today's Inside Source video edition. Please join us next time. Thank you. Have a great day.